Hi, I'm Laura Morrow. I'm the founder of Simply AIP, and I just wanted to come on here today and share my story of why I am so passionate about sharing the Autoimmune Protocol with everybody that I know. So my story started 2.5 years ago. I had just had my second son, Connor, and he was about 3 months old, and I started getting this pain in my left foot, kind of in the arch of my foot. And it was mostly just when I woke up first thing in the morning and I just kind of felt stiff all over. But definitely my left foot just really ached, especially when it first hit the floor. And I kind of blamed it at first on the pregnancy. I gained about 60 pounds on my pregnancy, and and that was, my left side was also where I held the baby all the time too. So I just thought it was the strain of the extra weight and the strain of holding a very large baby all the time. And then it kind of persisted, and I was told, you know what, that's probably pregnancy hormones, because those hormones can loosen up your joints and it can cause pain. So after a few weeks, it should feel better. And if it doesn't, it should feel better by the time you finish nursing. So I thought, okay, it'll go away. No big deal. It did keep getting worse, but I just kept thinking, it's just all the strain on my body, it'll just get better. And I was just so committed to nursing my son that I wasn't willing to give that up. So I think like a lot of women do, I just sucked it up and dealt with it. It was getting worse, but I just dealt with it. So, eventually, after about 16 months, I finished nursing. I had lost not quite all, but very much of the weight that I had put on. I was going to the gym 4 or 5 days a week and eating healthy-ish. Like, I felt like it was pretty healthy. And not only did I still have the pain in the left foot, but it was also in the right foot as well. It was getting worse. And again, I just kind of kept dealing with it. And it was just getting really difficult to walk when I first got out of bed in the morning. Going to the gym was difficult. It would usually get better after I warmed up for a while. And at night, it would start aching again. And then this summer, but I was like, I've only finished nursing for a couple months. Like, it'll get better. It'll get better once these hormones get out of my system. And then this summer, I finished nursing in January. In July, it got worse. So not only was it in both feet, but my hands started hurting as well. So when I would wake up in the morning, my hands would be stiff, and I started getting this tingling, painful sensation that went up and down my wrists. And there was one day that I had gone to a couple of birthday parties. I had eaten a lot of pizza, a lot of cake, I drank some wine, and when I woke up the next morning, I couldn't even get out of bed. I was just like clutching onto the wall and onto the furniture to try to walk. I couldn't go down the stairs, and I was just, my arms and wrists and hands were just aching, and I was just like, this is not normal. Normal people don't feel this way. And as I was laying there in bed, I started Googling and, Googling all these symptoms, and really scary things started to pop up. Words like rheumatoid arthritis and autoimmune disease, and even MS. And I was just like, this cannot be happening to me. Totally freaked out. I scheduled a doctor's appointment right away for that week. I got in first available that I could. And, between that time, I was just Googling all these things. And what was so scary is I just saw story after story after story on the message boards of women who had been pregnant and had experienced the same things that I was and had no answers. They had gone to doctors, and often doctors didn't even believe them or minimized their pain, or were treating them for things that they didn't really feel comfortable with or felt was right. And it was just so scary. So when I saw my doctor, she tested me for several things, most of them for autoimmune diseases, and it included rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, MS, thyroid. She even tested me for vitamin D deficiency, which I was like crossing my fingers, like, please let it just be a lack of vitamin D. I can deal with that. But unfortunately, my vitamin D was great. So anyway, she tested me for all these things, and they came back as being negative. I didn't have any of them, which in a way was like, yay. And in another way was like, oh, well, where do I go from here? And when I called to get my results, the receptionist was just like, I was like, where do I go? Do I set an appointment? What's the next step? And she was like, oh no, all your blood work came back negative. You're fine. And I said to her, I was like, I'm not fine. I'm in pain and I can't deal with this anymore. And she was just like, oh, I guess I'll have the doctor get back to you. And she did. She referred me to a rheumatologist. And it was crazy. Like, I walked into the office and everybody else there was 80 years old, and then there was me. And I'm just like, I'm way too young to be feeling the way I am. Like, hopefully she has answers for me. And unfortunately, she did not. She did give me an MRI, which showed inflammation, which indicated that there was definitely problems going on. But because my blood work did not show positive for rheumatoid arthritis, there wasn't really anything that she could or was willing to do. So her only suggestion was 2 weeks of anti-inflammatory prescription medication and to wear an ankle brace on my left foot that at night for 2 weeks. And that was the foot that was the worst. And I was like, okay, great. But what about my wrists? My wrists are really hurting. What is your suggestion for that? And she was just like, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. And I said, okay, well, what happens after the 2 weeks? And she was just like, well, you should be fine by then. And I said, okay, well, but what if I'm not? And she didn't have an answer for me, which was terrifying. It was terrifying. And so I just happened to have a chiropractor appointment that week for some back issues that I had also experienced during my pregnancy. And he was like, okay, so how you doing? Tell me what's going on. And I said, well, I have a story for you. This is what's happening. And I just laid out, the whole story for him. And he was like, we have got to get this under control. This is the kind of thing that grows legs. And, one autoimmune disease can lead to another, can lead to another. So we have to do something to help you. And I was just seriously like, thank God, like somebody's listening to me. Somebody is paying attention to me and hearing what I'm saying and believing me, And so what he did was he strongly recommended the Autoimmune Protocol, which I knew nothing about. I kind of heard something about gluten-free, but didn't know what AIP was. So he gave me a packet of information to go home and look at. And I started kind of figuring it out and Googling, of course, and doing the research. And what I found out was with the Autoimmune Protocol, it's basically taking out all of the food from your diet that can cause inflammation and removing all that and then just eating nutrient-dense food that's just going to be really good for you, and it's going to help your body heal from the inside out. And you stay on this diet for a certain amount of time. He personally recommended at least 2 months to get started with. And then you start reintroducing foods back into your diet. And as you reintroduce, you see what foods cause you problems and which foods actually your body reacts really well to. And so I was that really made me kind of freak out a little bit, because it was a lot of foods that I love, to be honest with you. And I was like, gosh, can I really do that? But I just kept telling myself, I was like, you know what? I don't want to feel the way I'm feeling anymore. Like, this is just, it's got to stop. It's got to end. And if I can do something that helps me take control of my health and of my body and of my pain, then it's worth it. And what I also figured too is the diet is basically just eating meat, veggies, and fruit. So it can't be bad for me. I was like, if nothing else, maybe I'll just be a little bit healthier. Maybe I'll lose a couple pounds. I don't know. So I wasn't like fully convinced that it was going to work for me, but I was like, what do I have to lose? Nobody else is doing anything for me. And it's just eating like super duper healthy. And I was willing to do that. I was willing to give it a try. So I did. And the first few days were really hard. Like, I remember, like, I kept like going into my cabinet and opening it, like looking for a snack, like looking around and being like, okay, what am I going to eat? I'm really hungry. And realizing that there wasn't a single thing in that cabinet that I could have, and I finally just told myself, like, that is not your cabinet anymore. Like, when you're hungry, like, you do not go to that cabinet. Like, that is not yours. The refrigerator is your friend. Like, that's where all the fresh, healthy food is. So, I had to totally just change my thinking surrounding food. But what I found though was, that can be hard too. Like, I'm a busy mom. I'm always on the go. And I was used to having a protein bar or some kind of snack in my diaper bag that I could just easily grab when I'm on the run. And so I started searching around for something, like, can somebody just deliver food to me, just deliver something that I can have to make my life easier. And so I couldn't find it. I could find snacks. I could find individual snacks, individual ingredients, but nothing that would just come to me and just be simple. It was just like so much label reading and researching and digging through all these websites to just like put something together. So what I did was I created what I wanted on this diet, and the reason why is because those first few days were so hard when I got started, but it does get easier. And I will tell you, after 3.5 weeks of being on the diet, I started noticing difference. I started noticing a significant difference. My pain dropped from being almost unbearable to being probably 75% gone in like 3.5 weeks. And after a few more weeks, I was icing both of my wrists and both of my feet every single night and taking anti-inflammatory medicine. And I have not iced my wrists or my feet in over 2 months now. I have not taken an anti-inflammatory medicine in 5 months. And just to be able to go from feeling like 80 years old, like I was, to in my 30s again and more fit than I have been in years. I've lost 17 pounds in 5 months, not calorie counting, not portion control, but just eating the healthy foods that are on the Autoimmune Protocol. I mean, it's amazing. It has truly changed my life. And it just makes me want to shout out there, like, there is a better way. There's something that you can do to help control your pain and to help to put you in control of your own health. So that's what Simply AIP is all about, to put you in control of your health. And what it is it's a monthly delivery of treats, of foods, of ingredients. I'm going to have a recipe in there for you, and also some fun little indulgences for you as well that's going to help you stick to the Autoimmune Protocol. It's going to be delivered directly to your door every month, and it's going to be a surprise. It's going to be something brand new. And not only is it just going to give you some things that you can eat and things that you can do that you know is totally 100% AIP friendly, that you don't have to worry about checking labels or whatever, but it's just also going to make you feel good. I know it can be so lonely being on AIP and being the only one that you know that is doing that, but I think just having that is just going to make you feel a little bit more connected and out there. So if you'd like to learn more, just go to my website. It's www.simplyaip.com. Put in your email. You'll get updates of when we're launching and when your first box is going to be able to get to you, plus a really awesome article that I wrote that is the 7 secrets to building your tribe and living your best life on AIP. So thanks for hearing my story today. Feel free to share it with anybody. It's my mission to reach as many women as possible and to tell them that there is a better way to take care of their health. So thank you and bye.